Hello, BookTube. I thought I'd give you a quick tech update. The last channel in the world you'd expect to see such things, but nevertheless, I do regularly dabble in tech, the limited amount of it that I can understand. And recently, for this channel, I put out the call for your opinions on whether or not I should get a dedicated e-ink e-reader. Something that isn't a full multicolor tablet, but rather that is electronic ink, which is billed as being much more gentle on the eyes and a much more immersive, real reading experience than reading a book on an iPad or a tablet of some kind. And your responses were universal. It was incredible. Comments on that video and also emails. I leave my email on every video. I got swamped with emails, people saying that my Kindle Paperwhite was the single best purchase I've ever made, that it changed my reading life, that I couldn't do without it. So many people wrote to me some variation of I never watch TV, or I only sometimes do. I don't always know where my phone is. I don't always have the tablet charged. I don't always remember to charge it, but I know exactly where my Kindle is at all times. It's usually in my hand or in my pocket. And that was enough for me. That plus the online research that I've been doing. I did a lot of research and watched a lot of videos comparing e-ink readers, and the tech channels were unanimous down the line that as in terms of specs, performance, selection, form factor, the Kindle Paperwhite 10th generation was the way to go. A nice flat handheld e-ink reader that has the bezels are no longer raised from the screen. It's just a flat screen. So I ordered it. I ordered one, and it came in the mail, and I unboxed it for you, a little Kindle Paperwhite, and I admit, I admit for this tech update that my first few, you know the old saying, you never get a second chance to make a first impression, and that first impressions matter. And my first 3 impressions of this book, of this device, have all been bad. They've all been just unmitigatedly bad. And I've had a number. I've alluded to this on videos and in emails. And I've had a number of you say, no, keep going, give it a try. It can't possibly be that you, a diehard reader, will be the only person I've ever met who doesn't like your Kindle Paperwhite. Okay, so I am going to do that. I'm not closing my mind by any means. The first strike against this thing was that I tried to read a PDF that was heavily illustrated. And despite the fact that it had not come up in any of the review videos that I watched, a lot of you mentioned to me after the fact that, yeah, that doesn't tend to work. Those tend to give an e-ink reader problems. Okay, so it didn't work. The first book that I was going to read on this e-ink reader was a book that I had been commissioned to review. I had an e-galley. I was just going to read it, annotate it, and do the whole process. Because one of the things I want to know about this device is, can I use it to work? Can I use it to work? Not just idling on, but can I use it to work? Can I read an e-galley that I have been commissioned to review, take notes on the e-galley, and finish it and just work up the review from that file? And I most certainly couldn't do it. With that very first book that I tried, it just wouldn't work on this device. I had to read it on an iPad. And one of my worries about getting this thing, I mean, it was dirt cheap, so it's not that much of a worry. But one of my worries about it was, well, okay, what if the first few things you try on this device don't work and you just go back to your iPad? That says a lot. If you have a device that's not giving you any trouble doing the 6 things you want it done, then it's hard to make an argument for another device, for a different device than that one. So I let it go. I figured, okay, enough people are telling me an illustrated PDF tends not to work well on an e-ink reader. Okay, all right, fine. And then the second thing I did was I put out a call for ebooks, your ebook files. Send me ebook files so I can just have a huge library to read on this thing, not just work-related, but everything. And bless your hearts, you did. You sent me hundreds and hundreds of ebook files in a whole bunch of different formats. A dedicated Amazon format, KZV or something like that, Mobi files, EPUB files, PDFs, and none of them would open or download or transfer at all. None of them. Out of all those hundreds, with a tiny handful of exceptions that I could see no rhyme or reason to. I showed it to a number of tech head friends. I sent them screenshots and everything, and they told me, well, you tell me that your friends know all about converting files and they know all about native files from native e-readers and that they knew all that ahead of time. And I said, yes, yeah, quite a few of them have been taking me through all this. They certainly know all about that. And all of my tech friends said, okay, well, if you weren't telling me that, then I would have an easy answer to this, which is that people are sending you locked files and just don't know it. These files are behaving as though they are digitally rights managed and are locked from the sender. So it doesn't matter what device you're trying to open them on or what program you're trying to use. They're still not going to work anywhere except on the device where they were originally bought. And I didn't know how to answer that because quite a few of you have been completely unequivocal with me saying that the files you sent will certainly work. And some of the file formats that you sent are just open formats. There isn't any way to lock them. So I didn't understand that at all, and I confess it was a second headache about this device. And the third headache was a case. I ordered a case for this thing on eBay. Again, dirt cheap, so no skin in the game really. But this thing does not, as you can see, this is just flat. The bezels don't drop to the screen the way they did in all previous iterations of this Kindle. I thought, okay, well, I'm kind of hard on my stuff, and it's probably a good idea to get a cover for this thing. And when the cover arrived, and I opened it on camera, it didn't fit. Just blatantly didn't fit. And the seller on eBay had to know that. Their listing had to be a lie. It certainly did not fit a 10th generation Kindle Paperwhite. Someone out there has solved that problem because I got this in the mail. A wonderful case. Looks very, very similar to the one that I bought, except this one has a brand name, Infiland. And it's exactly what I wanted. It's just a very simple thing. Holds the thing, but I wanted a case where the device doesn't sit in the case. I didn't want to lose any screen real estate, so I wanted just something that you click right in, and that has a nice no nonsense cover. So somebody fixed that problem, and I don't know who you are, but I really appreciate it. I didn't know how to order this. I had my finger on the button to order another case for this thing, and I thought, if a secondhand seller is simply going to lie to you, then how do you know they aren't all going to lie to you? Maybe that money should be better spent on something else. So I just let it go. And someone didn't. Someone didn't sleep on it and sent this. So now I have a case for this thing. Okay, so the 3 strikes against this thing. 1 is gone. I now have a case for this thing. I just forget about the lie that an eBay seller told me. And the first strike against this thing is also gone. Because, okay, if this thing has a problem with illustrated PDFs, okay, not really sure why that would be a deal breaker, but if it is, maybe it's a thing about e-ink, then fine. Okay, that still leaves number 2. And number 2 has been a headache for me. I should right now be swimming in ebook copies, and I'm not, and I don't know why. I've tried opening them on my iPad. I've tried opening them on my Nook. I've tried opening them on Amazon or transferring them or whatnot. Nothing seems to work with most of the files that I was sent, especially Amazon native files and Mobi files. So I'm going to put out a call again and try to rectify that middle strike and just clean the slate on this little miracle device. I'm having a lot of trouble syncing this with anything else, with any other kind of Kindle library, and that's annoying. But I think that has a discrete reason. I think there's probably something technical that I have to do where I tell, for instance, my iPad that this Kindle exists, that I tell my Amazon account that this Kindle exists, give it this particular email address and whatnot. I don't see why that should be true. If I have one Kindle account, I would like to think that would just work, and I wouldn't need to specify. But what I want to do now is send out a call for our ebooks again, only this time just EPUB. Just that, not Mobi, not anything else. No PDFs, not that Amazon original format, KZV or KVM or something like that. Nothing except EPUB. If you have ebooks that you want to send me that are EPUBs, send away. Those I've been having a little bit of success with, and I want to have success on this thing. But even if, like I said, this was very little money. This device was very little money. So even if I don't have success with it, I still have the Kindle app on my iPad. I still have the Kindle app on my Nook. So I still have a place for those EPUBs to go. I still have a place to read those ebooks, and they're perfectly comfortable. Maybe not as comfortable as this would be. I'm not giving up on this, but I also don't want your work, your generosity, to be in vain. So if you feel like sending me ebooks, send me EPUBs only, and I will report back on how that goes. So there's your tech update. A disastrous series of misfires for my Kindle Paperwhite, a device that I have heard testimonies about this thing, the like of which I have not heard from anything about any other kind of technology or technological device. So of course I want to love it too. So despite those setbacks, I feel certain that 2020 will be the year where I will love my Kindle Paperwhite. So feel free. I'll leave my email down below. Feel free to send me ebooks, provided they are EPUB. Even though Mobi is an Amazon file, it doesn't appear to work. And feel free also to send me Kindle stories, more Kindle tips, and whatnot. I'd love to hear all of that. I combine and compare notes on all of them and try out whole bunches of things. So there is your tech update, tech update on this channel. But I will be back. We'll be talking about books. Thank you, BookTube.